Hello, one and all. It's my view of My Hero Academia, chapter 322, Great Explosion, Murder God Dynamite. And I think this chapter, more than the other, convinced me that Hero Society just really isn't worth saving anymore. I mean, seriously, Deku's been fighting for days on end. His mind, his body, his spirit are completely and utterly broken. When he finally gets back to UA, finally gets back to his home, finally gets back to the one place he should be safe in this world, he isn't greeted as some sort of savior. He's greeted by an angry mob who demand that not let that boy take one step into UA. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Seriously, you're not letting Deku in. Deku, the boy has been saving you time and time again. The boy has literally broken every part of himself in order to keep you safe. You're refusing to let him in. You're refusing to let him take shelter. And this place isn't even yours. Seriously, you do not own UA. This is a place where you're getting protection. This is a place where people are protecting you, and yet you have demands. You demand they not protect someone else as well. What the frick is wrong with you? Seriously, what's wrong with you? Actually, you know what? Forget about it. Just get out. Get out. I don't care anymore. All of you, this whole angry mob, just kick them right out. Let them get murdered and eaten by the villains for all I care. Seriously, let that happen. I mean, yes, they are afraid, obviously. They're afraid of Shigaraki. They're afraid that Deku is being targeted by Shigaraki, and if they let Deku in, then Shigaraki will follow soon after. But, Shigaraki's goal isn't just to kill Deku and then, retire or live in peace, whatever. His goal is to destroy literally everything he hates, which is, basically everything in the entire world. So, bringing in Deku just means, okay, Shigaraki might kill us a little bit sooner, and Deku is the one and only person in all of Japan who can actually stand up to Shigaraki, who can actually stop him, who can actually take him down once and for all, and you want to kick him out. You want to freaking kick him out. And oh god, the saddest thing about this is Deku knew. Deku knew this was coming. Deku knew as soon as he got to UA, they wouldn't let him in, that there would be people who'd be against him coming here. And you can actually see this weird, half-hearted, crooked smile on his face when he sees, yep, I knew this exact thing was gonna happen. And then he turns and tries to walk away, but Uraraka stops him. Oh, this look on her face, I am so excited to see her actually say, basically everything I've said next chapter. Basically just say, hey, listen up, Deku's been saving you, Deku's been protecting you, and if you don't like it, get out. Just get out. Just freaking get out. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Though there is definitely something else I'm rather concerned about this chapter. As 13 says, every day more people grow weary of the anti-hero ideology and decide to move into shelters, which, sounds like a good thing. Definitely sounds like people are realizing, okay, you know what, maybe we actually need heroes. Maybe we actually need heroes to protect us. But this is basically creating a society that is built on fear. I mean, in a way, all societies are kind of built on fear. I agree to pay taxes and wear clothes in public, and in exchange, government protection people are bigger, stronger, and more well-armed than I am. Huzzah! But in a quirk-based society, this could actually lead to a very large class divide between those who can't protect themselves and those who can protect themselves. Those who have the quirks, the training, the willingness to actually kill any villains who approach them might not want to have heroes come back, might end up saying, I can protect myself, so I don't actually need Hero Society anymore. And that could be a big problem down the road once everything is, put back to normal, once the villains go back to prison, once the League of Villains is stopped, once the shelters close, and once everyone goes back home. We can have people, actively more willingly protesting Hero Society because they realize they don't need heroes. They've experienced life without them, and they know they can protect themselves. So, yeah, that's concerning. That's definitely concerning to me. I mean, I was saying this before in previous videos, but what I think can really help society is basically a junior hero program. That's probably not what they'd call it, but basically allow common civilians, allow volunteers to protect themselves, to use their quirks if they pass a background check, paid a fee, took a course, got evaluated, stuff like that. I mean, currently, getting hero license is very difficult. So let's allow people to get a much simpler version of it, which they can use, to defend themselves, protect themselves, or protect people around them. They can't actually, go out and attack villains, target villains, but they can still act in self-defense. They can still use their quirk to help evacuate civilians, protect civilians, do stuff like that. I think that would really help your society feel more inclusive, allow people to feel like they have more control in their lives, like they have more freedom to use their quirks, while at the same time making sure that people are, well regulated, making sure that no crazy person's out there using his quirk to murder villains left and right. I don't know, that's my own theory on what's gonna happen at the end of the series. But anyway, let's get to the start of this chapter, as we have Ida and Deku falling a really long way, and then being caught by Kirishima, which I mean, that's great and all, but that's like a 200-foot fall, and Kirishima's quirk is that he's basically made of rock, so I feel like that would have been a very, very unpleasant landing. I mean, even if he can, slow their descent by grinding to a halt like that, that the initial landing was still them hitting basically rock at very, very fast speed, so yeah, that must have hurt. That must have really, really hurt. But whatever, I'm just really glad that Kirishima gets to say his piece to Deku. And the story, oh god, I love this story. How basically Deku inspired him, Deku's toughness, Deku's manliness, to go after that slime villain, even though he didn't have a quirk, even though he's so utterly, utterly helpless. That really inspired Kirishima, made him realize that he can do more, that he can be manlier than he currently is. Oh, I love it. Deku made Kirishima a hero. Huzzah! And then, even though Deku is even more broken than he was before, and is completely surrounded by Class 1A, he still refuses to go back to UA because he doesn't want to put them in danger. He doesn't want to make trouble for anyone else. He can't go back. Things can't go back to how they used to be. And then we finally get the Deku and Bakugo moment. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. I mean, seriously, just how this was drawn as Deku and Bakugo get older in each panel is so freaking amazing. Especially when we still have Deku, looking fully shot and broken in every one of them. I mean, Chibi Deku, Child Deku, drawn with the face of this broken Deku is... Oh, it's something it's something you'd see in a horror movie. It's something you'd literally see in a freaking horror movie. It is that terrifying. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. And just what Bakugo says is so freaking amazing, basically acknowledging that ever since they were kids, he could always feel that Deku was better than him. Deku was more qualified to be a hero than he was. Deku had a stronger spirit than he did, and that's why he kept an arm's length. That's why he kept rejecting him. That's why he kept trying to push him away time and time again, because he was afraid of Deku, because he realized that Deku was essentially better than he was. It actually kind of reminds me of Nagisa and Karma from Assassination Classroom, where Karma stopped hanging out with Nagisa because he could feel it. He could feel some sort of danger coming off this kid. Even though he seemed weak, even though he seemed helpless, there was a true killer hiding just beneath the surface, and he was terrified of that. He realized, if I ever fought this guy, there's a very good chance I might actually lose, even though Karma is just such an overwhelmingly stronger fighter. And that's basically what happened here. Bakugo realized Deku was better than him, and so he tried to reject him. He tried to push him away, keep him away, as a way of, making himself feel better, but always aware in the back of his mind there was something about Deku that was better than him, something about Deku that would make him a better hero than he was, and so he has to apologize. He bends his head and apologizes to Deku, apologizes for everything he's done. I freaking love it. Oh my god, I freaking love it. And what's more, for the first time in this series, Bakugo called Deku by his name. He called Deku Izuku. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. I mean, Deku was always an insult. Before Deku, took it to be the name of pride, the name of a hero, he viewed it as an insult. It was an insult being thrown at him by Bakugo, but now he's calling him by his name. He's truly recognizing him as a person, as a rival, as a friend. And just what's more, Bakugo's line, because saving people is how we win, is just so utterly, utterly perfect coming from him. Because it's been said time and time again in this series that Bakugo respected All Might so much because he always stopped the villain, because he always won the fight, while Deku respected All Might because, he always saved the day, always protected the people. Those are the two sides of All Might, the two parts of him, and now Bakugo has basically realized saving people is just as important as actually winning the fight, and that's just so utterly, utterly important for his character. And this is a lesson they basically learned from Deku, but Deku's been so focused on stopping Shigaraki, on stopping League of Villains, that he forgot that. He forgot it was supposed to be about saving people, not stopping the villain, not winning the fight. And so he basically apologizes, realizing that his classmates have had the right mindset. They've been focused on saving the people, while he's been focused on winning the fight, and then, that's it. He's done. He's just so done. He collapses, and Bakugo catches him, and oh, I love it. I freaking love it. And then they go back to UA. Huzzah! And I can't help but notice it looks a little bit different. Like, a lot of bit different. Seriously, this thing's a freaking skyscraper. How in God's green earth did they build a skyscraper this large that's basically a wall protecting the entire school? How exactly did they do this? I mean, the principal said, the UA barrier was built after the attacks, after whatever, and I was expecting something. I mean, I even said, something crazy, it might be putting the entire school in an alternate dimension. I was not expecting something this massive, this overwhelmingly insane. But apparently its giant wall is only the tip of the iceberg, and there's much, much more involved with the defense system than just that. Which, curious, very, very curious, especially because Invisible Girl says they can combine with Shiketsu, the other hero school, which, what exactly does that mean? Honestly, this is so insane, I'm actually imagining this giant wall turning into a giant turning into a giant fighting robot, and then combining with the giant fighting robot over at Shiketsu to form a super giant fighting robot. I would not be that surprised if that happens. I would not be that surprised if it happens at this point. That's how overwhelmingly massive and insane this wall actually is. And hey, we finally get to see 13's face! Yay! And she is cute. She is really, really cute. I'm happy about that. Though she has mentioned that a lot of the anti-hero protesters have formed vigilante corps, which honestly has me excited. It really, really has me excited because, the spin-off, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, I feel like there's so much room for overlap with that series. I mean, yes, the actual series won't end for at least a couple more chapters, so I'm not really sure how the characters, at least the main characters, could appear in the series, in the main series, but Vigilantes does have a rather large cast, so we definitely see some of the side characters popping in to say hello, popping in to lend a helping hand. I mean, at the very, very least, Captain Celebrity is back in America, and they said they're bringing over foreign heroes, so I could definitely see him showing up and lending a helping hand. Oh my god, I would love that. But when it actually comes, the main characters, the Crawler, Pop, all of them, I'm not sure. I'm really, really not sure because, they're all in a rather precarious condition right now in Vigilantes. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting, and I'm honestly not sure what's gonna happen next. Who's actually going to be able and alive to come over here and help in the main series a year or two later. So, curious. Very, very curious. Leave anything else down below. What do you think of the people, the protesters, refusing to let Deku into the city, refusing to protect him, even though they're being protected, even though this isn't actually their home, and this is basically just a place they're taking shelter? What do you think of Bakugo apologizing to Deku? I mean, that was such an emotional moment. I freaking loved it. He actually called Deku by his name for the first time in this entire freaking series. Just the impact that it means so much. There's actually a villain Deku fan comic I saw on YouTube once where Deku actually called Bakugo, by his actual name instead of Kachan, and it just hurt Bakugo so much because he realized that, that was always a term of endearment for Deku to Bakugo, and Deku just calling him by his name, and that Deku would really sever ties, that he wasn't his friend anymore, even though Bakugo hasn't really considered Deku his friend in a long time. I mean, the nicknames they gave one another are just so significant, such a sign of their bond, of their history. Deku even used it as his own hero name because he wanted to show that even this weak little Deku could become a hero, and now that Bakugo was actually calling him by his name, it's a sign that, he doesn't see Deku as this weak little Deku anymore, sees him as a full person, a rival, a friend, and he wants to work with him to restore the friendship they had when they were kids, before quirks came in the picture. Oh, this is a good chapter. This was such a good chapter. Link the all down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video. Until then, peace!